We're live from New Delhi. You're watching India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Kurana, coming up in the next hour. Hurricane Milton again intensifies to Category 5 as Florida braces for a storm of the century. Thousands flee as Biden urges residents to evacuate. West Asia remains on edge. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu warns Lebanon of destruction like Gaza. Japan's PM Ishiba set to dissolve parliament ahead of October 27 snap elections, relying on a divided, fragmented opposition to regain power. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump trade barbs in media as the campaigning enters the final stretch of intensely close U.S. presidential polls. Russian forces capture key villages in eastern Ukrainian town of Toretsk. Zelensky wants missiles, faster results on battlefield. Well, let's begin with West Asia conflict. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has made a direct appeal to urge the Lebanese people to throw out Hezbollah and avoid destruction and suffering like we see in Gaza.
You have an opportunity that hasn't existed in decades. An opportunity to take care of the future of your children and grandchildren. You have an opportunity to save Lebanon before it falls into the abyss of a long war that will lead to destruction and suffering like we see in Gaza.
Well, Netanyahu's appeal on Tuesday came as Israel expanded its ground invasion against Hezbollah by sending thousands more troops into a new zone in southwest Lebanon. Elsewhere, Hezbollah's fighters launched barrages of rockets towards the Israeli port city of Haifa for the third consecutive day, injuring several people. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, Israeli military spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari claimed that the forces have killed 50 other Hezbollah fighters, but Nasrallah's successor, Hashim Saifuddin's death yet to be confirmed. He added that the IDF was examining the results of the operation.
Until now, we can confirm that in the strikes, more than 50 terrorists, among them are 6 senior commanders. This is a moral strike, operational and hard for the Hezbollah terrorists. We see it now in the fighting in the north, and in parallel, this is the operation that we are continuing, the ground operation against the southern infrastructure that is spread across the border.
Meanwhile, President Joe Biden is expected to hold a phone call on Wednesday with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Reportedly, the two leaders are expected to discuss plans to strike Iran. Also, U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller has indicated that Hezbollah is on defensive mode and calls for a ceasefire. During his briefing, Miller said that Israel's offensive against Hezbollah in Lebanon has prompted a renewed bid by some leading Lebanese politicians to fill a 2-year-long presidential vacuum, an effort to revive the paralyzed state as it grapples with an escalating conflict.
So for a year, you had the world calling for this ceasefire. You had Hezbollah refusing to agree to one. And now that Hezbollah is on the back foot and is getting battered, suddenly they've changed their tune and want a ceasefire. I think it's not surprising given the situation they find themselves in.
And moving on to Russia-Ukraine conflict now, Russia's defense ministry said that its forces had taken control of 2 settlements in eastern Ukraine on Tuesday. It said the villages of Zolota, Neva and Zoryan Pershe had been brought under Russian control. The 2 villages lie to the north and to the south of the town of Kurakove, one of the focal points of military activity on the Eastern Front. This says the latest gains in there derive to secure the Donbas region, while Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Ukrainian forces were maintaining sufficient pressure on Russian troops in Russia's Kursk region. Further, Zelensky said Ukraine needed to secure and deploy advanced missiles and to achieve faster results with them on the battlefield. He said a meeting with top commanders had been devoted to the development of domestic weapon supplies, including drones, electronic warfare, and above all, deploying missiles that would reap rapid benefits in the battlefield. And Russian strikes on Ukraine's northeastern city of Kharkiv killed at least 2 people and injured more than 30 on Tuesday. The local police reported that 2 people were killed in a park near a lake, adding 2 more were wounded. Kharkiv Mayor Ihor Terekov said a civilian production facility had also been hit. A new NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte has said Ukraine could be facing its toughest winter since the conflict on Tuesday.
NATO must and will do more to help Ukraine. Russia continues to carry out massive strikes against Ukraine's critical energy infrastructure. Ukraine could be facing its toughest winter since the full-scale invasion began.
Well, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán said Ukraine cannot win the war with Russia on the battlefield on Tuesday, adding dialogue and a ceasefire were needed to save lives.
The Hungarian intention is focusing on to manage a ceasefire as soon as possible. A ceasefire. Because we are convinced that you cannot win that war on the battlefield. Simply you cannot. That's our opinion. So therefore, if you cannot win on the battlefield, you have to communicate, you have to negotiate, you have to have a ceasefire, and you have to save the life.
Well, as U.S. elections are just a few weeks ahead, a recent opinion poll again says Harris ahead of Trump. The debate in the mind of voters is strong leader versus change leader. A poll from Siena College and the New York Times out Tuesday highlighted the deadlock, finding Harris ahead of a Republican rival by 49% to 46%. However, the new poll gave Trump the edge on who is the stronger leader, but crucially revealed that registered voters see Harris as the change candidate. In the 7 battleground states seen as likely to determine the elections, the race is even tighter. In between, Democrat Kamala Harris and Republican Donald Trump exchanged barbs over the radio on Tuesday as they reached out to the few remaining undecided voters in the final stretch of an election seen as one of the closest in modern U.S. history. Harris is blaming Trump to be admirer of dictators, while Trump is declaring Harris as low intelligence person. Meanwhile, a book published in USA indicts Trump for sending COVID test kits to Russian President Vladimir Putin. And Hurricane Milton takes aim at Florida's battered Gulf Coast as an enormous Category 5 storm on Tuesday, triggering massive traffic jams and fuel shortages already. Hurricane Milton is being dubbed as extremely dangerous storm of the century. Officials have ordered over 1 million people to flee before it slams into the Tampa Bay area late on Wednesday or early on Thursday. Milton threatens a stretch of Florida's densely populated west coast that is still reeling from the devastating Hurricane Helene less than 2 weeks ago. A direct hit on the bay would be the first since 1921, that is more than a century. Tampa Mayor Jane Castor warned people against riding out the storm, calling Helene a mere wake-up call. Well, also, the World Meteorological Organization has warned Hurricane Milton is expected to grow in size before landfall, posing an extremely serious threat to Florida. The WMO has also predicted fluctuations in the strength of the Milton, adding that it is forecast to remain an extremely dangerous hurricane throughout the landfall. The WMO spokesperson Claire Nulles said in addition to Milton, there are currently 2 other hurricanes in the Atlantic at the moment, Leslie and Kirk.
Milton, according to the latest forecasts from the US National Hurricane Center, will likely make landfall in Florida Wednesday night, local time. The maximum sustained winds at the moment are 250 kilometers an hour. And this is a powerful Category 4 Milton sort of reached Category 5 yesterday, and the National Hurricane Centre is saying that fluctuations in the strength are likely, but whatever, regardless, Milton, and I quote, is forecast to remain an extremely dangerous hurricane through landfall in Florida.
Well, US President Joe Biden on Tuesday urged those who have been ordered to leave before Hurricane Milton makes landfall in Florida to evacuate now. He also added that it was a matter of life and death.
Most importantly, I've urged everyone currently located in Hurricane Milton's path to listen to local officials and follow safety instructions. You all have been reporting on the highways, shoulders being opened, everybody's heading out. And if you're under evacuation orders, you should evacuate now. You should have already evacuated. It's a matter of life and death, and that's not hyperbole. It's a matter of life and death.
Meanwhile, storefronts in Florida's Fort Myers are all boarded up and protected with barriers as many residents seek shelter away from their homes before Hurricane Milton hits. Now, a Category 5 storm, Milton exploded on Monday into one of the most intense Atlantic hurricanes on record. Hurricane Milton packed maximum sustained winds of 270 km per hour, as per the U.S. National Hurricane Center, putting it at the highest level on the 5-step Saffir-Simpson scale. At present, the eye of the storm is about 710 kilometers southwest of Tampa, moving east-northeast at a speed of 16 km per hour. Meanwhile, personnel from the U.S. Army have arrived in Marshall, North Carolina to help residents clear debris from homes and businesses left in the wake of Hurricane Helene. Relief efforts continue across much of the U.S. Southeast after Helene made landfall in Florida on September 26th. The storm killed over 200 people and caused billions of dollars in damage across 6 states. As recovery continues, several U.S. states are now bracing for the arrival of Hurricane Milton, which on Tuesday headed towards Florida's Gulf Coast. More than 1 million residents have been ordered to evacuate before the storm reaches the Tampa Bay area. And shifting focus to Bolivia now, where wildfires have smashed records to be the worst in the country's history, scorching an area the size of Iceland. According to figures released by the non-governmental organization, nearly 7 million hectares in Santa Cruz have burned out of a national total of 10 million. The fires are largely the result of slash-and-burn practices used by industrial agriculture to clear land for large-scale farming and cattle pastures. Bolivia's government declared a national disaster last week after demands from local authorities, community organizations and citizens for more forceful intervention. Authorities issued evacuation orders and warnings for residents in the area also. Well, Nepal has estimated a loss of 6 billion in agriculture and livestock due to floods and landslides that took a heavy toll on Nepal's economic well-being. In all 8 districts of Madhya Pradesh, flood-damaging paddy fields as well as fish ponds are a huge concern. More than 26,000 livestock were killed by landslides and floods in Nepal during recent natural disasters. Farmers who planted cardamom, sugarcane, fruits and vegetables have suffered huge losses. And still to come, indeed, India News Hour. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to attend the 21st ASEAN-India Summit and the 19th East Asia Summit. Argentine university students hold protest against budget cuts passed by Congress several weeks ago. And Mozambique votes on Wednesday in a tense general election. watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be travelling to Laos PDR on 10th and 11th of October to attend the 21st ASEAN-India Summit and the 19th East Asia Summit. ASEAN leaders and other partners have already started arriving in Vientiane for the 44th and 45th ASEAN Summit. Ahead of the main summit, ASEAN foreign ministers met on Tuesday in Vientiane, where Myanmar and other regional topics remain a high point of discussion.
Foreign ministers of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations meet ahead of the 44th ASEAN Summit in Vientiane from 9th to 11th of October. Ahead of the summit, foreign ministers and delegates from Southeast Asian nations joined in a meeting in Vientiane on Tuesday, stressing that the region's concerted effort is much needed amid the current geopolitical climate.
Our meeting is held when the region and the world continue to face with rapidly changing and complex geopolitical and geo-economic landscape that presents both opportunity and challenges. ASEAN concerted effort is needed to respond proactively and effectively to these challenges with a view to maintaining and promoting regional and global peace, stability and prosperity, as well as to maintaining ASEAN relevance and centrality as a primary driving force in evolving regional architecture.
Permanent Secretary at the Myanmar Foreign Ministry, Ong Kor Mo, is attending the meeting as the country is set to send a representative to the regional summit for the first time in 3 years. Indonesia hosted talks on the Myanmar conflict last week involving ASEAN, the European Union and the United Nations, as well as numerous anti-junta groups. Malaysia takes over as ASEAN chair after the summit, and Foreign Minister Mohammed Hassan said Jakarta meeting showed that talks must involve all parties in Myanmar.
The takeaway is that we have to really approach everybody in Myanmar. Okay? And Myanmar also has to listen to ASEAN. They have to abide to the ASEAN Charter because it's part of ASEAN. And they are also the part of signatory of the 5-point consensus. So let's put all of it together. We want to see this so-called crisis, atrocities in Myanmar also to stop.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be travelling to Vientiane from 10th to 11th of October. During his visit, Prime Minister will participate in the 21st ASEAN-India Summit and the 19th East Asia Summit. Prime Minister Modi's visit to Laos coincides with the 10th anniversary of India's Act East policy, highlighting the significance of relations with ASEAN as a cornerstone of India's regional strategy and its Indo-Pacific vision. ASEAN-India Summit aims to evaluate the progress made in India-ASEAN relations under the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership and to establish future cooperation directions. The meeting will also see participation from countries including Australia. Meanwhile, China, who is Myanmar's neighbour and key ally, also confirmed on Tuesday that Premier Li Keqiang would also attend the summit. The South China Sea will be another key topic for leaders after months of violent confrontations between Chinese and Philippine vessels in the disputed waterway. Tripti Tripathi, DD India.
And well, for more, we have Meghna Dev joining us on this. Well, Meghna, Prime Minister Modi to visit Laos for India-ASEAN Summit to commemorate 10 years of India's Act East policy, which is particularly significant as it comes at a time when India's relations with Southeast Asia are marked by significant milestones. Tell us what all is lined up.
Yes, Lipakshi, when we are actually talking about India's Act East policy, as you said, it's marking a decade, and it becomes extremely significant at this point of time when we actually see that the third term of the Modi government did see increase in the outreach to and from the Southeast Asian region. When we actually see there were incoming visits from the Vietnamese leadership and the Malaysian leadership. There were outgoing visits by the President of India as well to the Southeast Asian region. We also recently saw Prime Minister Narendra Modi travel to Singapore and Brunei Darussalam. So this definitely gives us a sense of how much of importance India attaches to the region. Besides that, when we speak sectoral wise, when we speak sectorally, we definitely see that the trade stands around 131 billion US dollars, which is India's highest trade when we actually talk about with the ASEAN. So definitely that becomes extremely important, and enhancing it becomes even important for that matter. Besides that, when we see that India's bilateral relationship, when we talk about Laos PDR or we talk about Cambodia or Thailand, we definitely do see there are not only aspects of trade or the quick impact projects that India is carrying out in the region, or education or sanitation, drinking water for that matter, but also shared cultural heritage, the heritage that India has shared in terms of Buddhism, or we talk about Ramayana, which here is known as Ramakien. So we definitely see that the linkages, that cultural shared civilizational linkages, the heritage that the region and India share, definitely is reflected in the society here. So when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to arrive in Vientiane, his arrival is expected tomorrow, and it's he will be here for 10th and 11th of October. He will be receiving a traditional Lao welcome. That's what we are being told. Besides that, while the community here, the Indian community, the diaspora here is very small in size, but is very significant and is also contributing to the social structure here, and the community is also very excited to welcome the Indian Prime Minister here in Vientiane.
All right, Meghna, thank you so much for all those details from there. And now shifting focus to Japan, where Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba is set to dissolve the parliament on Wednesday ahead of October 27th snap elections. Ishiba's Liberal Democratic Party has governed Japan almost uninterrupted for decades and is almost certain to be re-elected. Ishiba replaced Fumio Kishida, whose government had suffered from record low approval ratings due partly to slush fund scandals that stoked distrust in the LDP and voter discontent over rising prices. Over the weekend, Ishiba announced that the LDP will not endorse some disgraced party members implicated in the political funding scandal in the upcoming election. And for more on Japan, we have Akshay Dongre joining us. Well, Akshay, Ishiba, banking on his political honeymoon now, is set to dissolve the parliament. Meanwhile, he has a fragmented opposition to lead his scandal-tainted party to victory. Will he be able to boost the party's popularity?
Well, when it comes to the Liberal Democratic Party in Japan, you have rightly mentioned that the party has won uninterruptedly in the past several years. And when it comes to Shigeru Ishiba, though he has been a leader of the party for a very long time, now him, coming at the top leadership of the party, it has, given him confidence that he should seek a fresh mandate from the people. And while the assembly was set to dissolve naturally next year on October 2025, with Shigeru Ishiba coming at the helm of the party, he's seeking a fresh mandate. Now, there is a reason behind that. First is about the slush fund scandal that has gripped the Liberal Democratic Party and its junior partner as well. The second reason is that growing criticism that has been coming in from the opposition party. Now, the criticism has also come in for this decision to dissolve the lower house of the parliament and to seek a fresh mandate. Now, opposition is saying that Shigeru Ishiba is rushing, in fact, to seek this mandate. And now, when it comes to the kind of timing duration that it has taken for a new prime minister to seek a fresh mandate, this is the fastest in post-war Japan when we compare the history of the country. So there are a lot of new things that are happening. It all depends how the people of Japan will take this decision by Shigeru Ishiba to dissolve the parliament, to dissolve the lower house, and then call for a snap elections that will take place on 27th of October. And now whether this will give a mandate again to the Liberal Democratic Party amid all of these allegations, that remains to be seen. But the opposition is also hopeful and is trying to revive itself when it comes to getting more seats and probably coming back to power. Back to you, Lipakshi.
Right, Akshay. As you said, opposition is also accusing of hurrying up the whole thing. Has Ishiba yielded to the pressure within his party to dissolve parliament for the much-needed political gain?
Well, it seems unlikely, Lipakshi, that Shigeru Ishiba has yielded to a sort of a pressure from his own party. It seems like a consensual decision that has been taken by both the Liberal Democratic Party and the Prime Minister of Japan, because Shigeru Ishiba, we have also seen this in the political landscape of Japan, that it matters a lot to the leaders about that what is the public perception of them, if there is any kind of accusation. So there is a lot of honor involved when it comes to the Japanese politics and Japanese government. So if there is no honor, if there are allegations, and if Shigeru Ishiba feels like that he has become a prime minister just by luck or just by chance, and has not gotten that particular position through direct mandate of people, it is highly unlikely that be it Shigeru Ishiba or other leaders of Japan would likely to continue as the prime minister, because that also puts a lot of question marks on the credibility of the leader. So that perhaps seems to be the reason why both it's going in the favor of both Shigeru Ishiba and Liberal Democratic Party to seek a fresh mandate. But yes, this is a record incident of a prime minister seeking a fresh mandate soon after coming at the helm of the country's government. Now it remains to be seen that what is going to be the result of this historic decision that has been taken by the new Prime Minister of Japan.
All right, Akshay, credibility of the leader, of course, is at stake. Thank you so much, Akshay, for all those details. And moving on, students at Argentina's largest public university took their lessons to the streets to protest against severe cuts to public university funding proposed by President Javier Milei's administration. The students from the University of Buenos Aires moved the lectures outdoors to protest a law passed by Congress several weeks ago to secure university funding amidst an economic crisis. The cuts have adversely affected the university, one of the top 100 universities worldwide. The cuts have impeded these institutions functioning since Milei assumed office in December. Milei's fiscal balance-based economic plan has drawn criticism from opponents who argue that the adjustments have been neither cautious nor fair. And Mexican lawmakers held a minute of silence to honor the memory of slain Chilpancingo Mayor Alejandro Arcos Catalan on Tuesday. Alejandro Arcos was killed on October 6, just 6 days after he took office as mayor of the city of Chilpancingo in the state of Guerrero. The federal government disclosed that he had traveled alone to an out-of-town meeting before his death. The Minister of Security said the investigation is still underway. The gruesome act happened just days before new president Claudia Sheinbaum unveiled her security strategy aimed at combating violent crime. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Haitians held a funeral for the victims of gang massacre on Tuesday. On October 4th, gang members brandishing automatic rifles stormed through a town in western part of the country, killing at least 70 and forcing over 6,000 to flee. Armed gangs control most of the capital, Port-au-Prince, and are expanding to nearby regions. The crisis has fueled hunger and made hundreds of thousands homeless. Promised international support continues to lag, and nearby nations have deported migrants back to the country. Mozambique votes on Wednesday in a tense general election highly likely to deliver victory to the ruling party Frelimo, which has governed the southern African nation since 1975. 4 candidates are vying to replace President Philip Nyusi, who is stepping down after serving 2 terms. The favorite is Daniel Chapo, a 47-year-old lawyer who is viewed as a safe choice for business and a fresh face for the long ruling party. Recent natural disasters blocking roads have not deterred the festive spirit of the Shrine in Nepal, when more than half of the population of Kathmandu is going to their hometown. The Shrine is the biggest festival in the Himalayan nation, having religious and cultural significance. It is an occasion of family gatherings when all working people make a point to be with their families in the village or hometown. And still to come on India News Hour. We'll get you a roundup of the Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir election results as BJP and JK National Conference emerge as the largest party respectively. Durgotsav, a major Hindu festival, begins today in Mumbai, symbolizes the triumph of good over evil. And we show you the mesmerizing visuals of women performing flame garba in India's Gujarat.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepak Shikuran, and moving on, a wave of celebrations is sweeping across Haryana as the BJP won a historic hat-trick in the state. Party workers were seen jumping for joy. DD India's Siddharth Bharadwaj sent us this report where the BJP had crossed the halfway mark, catching the overall sentiment.
Excitement, excitement, excitement. And why not? I am in the CM Haryana house today. And, you know, the sweets are being offered to people already because the Bharatiya Janata Party is all set to form its government for the third consecutive time in the state.
Vibrant celebrations have erupted across the state, with BJP supporters bursting into dance and jubilation as the party is all set to form government after the third consecutive win in Haryana.
ये कालका के लोगों की जीत है और मैं उनको बधाई देना चाहती हूँ। ये चुनाव उन्होंने खुद लड़ा है और उन्हीं की जीत हुई है। देखिए जनता है, सोच समझ के जवाब देती है।
The counting process, which started early at 8 a.m. on October 8, following the October 5 elections, has been a closely watched affair throughout the day.
बहुत ज़्यादा निराशा हुई है। आप सब वर्कर्स को देखिए, इतने समय से ये लगे हुए थे। ऐसे समय में जब कोई खड़ा होता नहीं नज़र आता था, राहुल जी का संदेश लेकर हम गांव-गांव ठंड में, कड़ाके की ठंड में, कड़कती धूप में, सब जगह हमारे वर्कर फैले, एक संदेश लेकर गए, मेहनत की ज़मीन पर। लेकिन आज जब ऐसा नतीजा आता है, इनकी मेहनत पर, इनके पसीने पर, इनके खून पर पानी फिरा है।
With both BJP and Congress locked in a fierce battle, the contest remained neck and neck well into the evening, before the BJP managed to solidify its lead. No party has ever secured a hat-trick in Haryana, and BJP is setting new records with this.
Well, next on cards is party meeting and all the discussions that will be unfolding, and also the date on which the swearing-in ceremony will be decided. With camera person Ramakant, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting for DD India in Chandigarh.
Well, the first assembly elections in J&K after 10 years and 5 years following the revoking of Article 370 have handed the region's reign in the JK-NC and Congress alliance. The JK-NC has said its VP and former Chief Minister will return to the CM's chair, but coalition partner Congress, despite having fared much worse in these elections compared to the one in 2014, has said the high commands of the two parties will decide on government formation after mutual consultations. DD India's Gautam Roy gets you more.
These visuals are of the Union Territory that witnessed a smooth and fair election. People came out and voted in large numbers. This is the first assembly election in Jammu and Kashmir after the abrogation of Article 370. Jubilant scenes were witnessed outside the Gupkar Road residence of Jammu and Kashmir National Conference Chief Dr. Farooq Abdullah. The JK-NC even declared that its Vice President and former Chief Minister Omar Abdullah will be back in the Chief Minister's chair.
Let's wait and watch till the end of the day. I'm sure by the end of the day we will have a very strong and vibrant numbers. I'm sure we'll have our numbers to form a vibrant government. Let's wait for a day or two. Let's see how things pan out.
Alliance partner Congress also celebrated the win, but said that all aspects of government formation, including the chief ministership, will be decided mutually by the high commands of the two partners.
Which candidate they decide is their prerogative, and as far as Congress is concerned, we have to interact and we have to consult our senior leaders and the central leadership about it.
The BJP has emerged as the second largest party and will hold key to restoration of statehood by virtue of being in power at the centre. It's the PDP which was the single largest party in 2014, which has fared the worst among J&K's mainstream political outfits. Its chief, Mehbooba Mufti, though seemed sanguine about the outcome.
जो हमारे पीडीपी के जो हमारे लीडर्स हैं, वर्कर्स हैं, जिन्होंने हमें बहुत मुश्किल हालात के बावजूद वोट डाला, उनकी भी बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूं और उनसे यही अपील करूंगी कि हिम्मत नहीं हारनी चाहिए, उतार चढ़ाव आते रहते हैं.
The last 10 years have seen J&K emerge out of the dark shadow of terrorism and move towards progress. Its people clearly hope the journey will be carried forward by its political representatives.
The first order of the day will now clearly be government formation, after which the focus will very quickly shift to the development needs of Jammu and Kashmir and the fact that statehood needs to be restored, for which the forthcoming dispensation will have to work closely with the centre. Needless to say, the coming days in Jammu and Kashmir will be rather interesting. With camera person Lalit Kumar, Gautam Roy, Srinagar, DD India.
Well, in a grand ceremony held in New Delhi today, the 70th National Film Awards were conferred by the Honourable President of India, Draupadi Murmu. The prestigious awards celebrate excellence in Indian cinema, recognising outstanding achievements across feature films, non-feature films and writing on cinema. Here's a report on who all were conferred with the awards.
The 70th National Film Awards for the year 2022 were conferred in New Delhi on Tuesday by India's President Draupadi Murmu. The prestigious award celebrates outstanding achievements in Indian cinema, recognizing excellence across a wide range of categories including feature films, non-feature films and writing on cinema.
हमारी फिल्में हमारी समाज के कलाबोध को प्रदर्शित करती है, जीवन बदल रहा है, कला के प्रतिमान बदल रही है, नई आकांक्षाएं जन्म ले रही है, नई समस्याएं सामने आ रही है, नई जागरूकता भी पैदा हो रही है. इन सभी बदलावों के बीच आपसी प्रेम, करुणा और सेवा के कभी न बदलने वाले जीवन मूल्य आज भी हमारे व्यक्तिगत और सामूहिक जीवन को सार्थक बना रहे हैं.
The most prestigious award, the Dada Saheb Phalke Award, was conferred to Indian actor Milton Chakrabarti.
Being a superlative acting prowess, 5 decades of excellence, the dream of...
The award for Best Music Direction for PS1 went to A.R. Rahman.
The visionary Indian composer presents an audacious...
Celebrating this glorious achievement, legendary singer A.R. Rahman said that he is really happy to receive this award and spoke on transformational journey of Indian cinema.
And that's not saying...
Right now, everything seems to be 10x and 20x because the quality of the filmmaking has gone up. It's evolving, so it's a great time to be in.
The Best Actor Award went to Rishabh Shetty, Kantara, while the Best Actress went to Mansi Parekh and Nitya Menon. Rishabh Shetty said that this is a moment of double delight because we are getting 2 awards.
We're proud of this moment. So, हमारे देश का filmmakers को national award बहुत बड़ा award है.
While Mansi Parekh said that sharing an award with Nitya is big and the film for which she is getting the award depicts diversity in cinema.
This is the year of regional cinema, and the fact that regional cinema is getting this amazing limelight because of the national awards, because for us national awards are like the Oscars.
Actors also shared their delight on India's first ever Waves Summit.
So beautifully that we actually match global standards, and I think there's no messaging really. It's just an endeavor from our end to kind of raise the bar of Indian cinema where it comes to technology and graphics, and I think but the real true hero is his brain and the vision that came from there.
Present on the occasion were Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Railways and Electronics and Information Technology, Ashwini Vaishnav, along with Union Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting, Dr. L. Murugan, Secretary, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Sanjay Jaju, and Joint Secretary Films, Vrunda Desai. Celebrating the glorious achievement, the President of India congratulated all the winners and expressed her happiness.
Well, the Navratri festival is celebrated with great devotion across India, with rituals and prayers honouring the goddess in her various forms. On the 7th day of Shardiya Navratri, the occasional morning aarti was performed at the Chandewala temple in the national capital on Wednesday early morning. On this day, goddess Durga is worshipped in the form of Ma Kalaratri. She is one of the 9 forms of Ma Durga and is considered the fiercest and the most ferocious form of goddess Parvati. She is depicted with dark blue or black complexion, with 4 hands, bountiful hair and rides on a donkey. People offer prayers to Ma Kalaratri and worship her with full devotion. And Durgotsav, a major Hindu festival, begins today with Shashti, that is the 6th day celebrations. It signifies the victory of goddess Durga over the demon Mahishasur, symbolizing the triumph of good over evil. We get you more in this report from Mumbai.
Well, it's that time of the year when the entire nation, along with Maharashtra, are welcoming Durga Ma. It's Durgotsav, and here at Bengal Club, which is Maharashtra's oldest. It's 102-year-old, and this is their 89th celebration of Durgotsav. Ma has already come here, and all the rituals, all the pujas are already on, and you can see a lot of people, a lot of devotees are already thronging on the first day. And if you see, the Bengal Club is given a theme or a design of Meenakshi Temple. Every year, the theme or the design changes and something innovative comes up. Also, they have taken this as an opportunity to support a social cause, and as we are listening to a lot of violence against women cases, cases where women are attacked, this particular Pandal or Bengal Club is also supporting that cause, where they will do the awareness and reach out to a larger number of people.
This year, the special message what you are trying to give is that stop violence against women and stop crime against women. So keeping that in the mind, we have involved with multiple NGOs like acid attack survivors, then women who are the victims of the domestic violence, people who needs economic support. For all these causes we have worked, and we have made it a theme like that celebration for a cause. So we are going to support them financially. We are allowing them to have a stall inside where they can sell things and the message can go.
They've also created a wall wherein large number of women can come up and sign and pledge their support that they will be supporting more and more women. With camera person Jitesh Rathod, this is Shama Mishra for D-Day India, Mumbai.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. People all over the nation are celebrating Navratri in various ways with fervour and enthusiasm. In Gujarat's Damnagar, women also dance the traditional Indhoni Ras Garba while wearing burning Indhoni on their heads. The Indhoni is a pot holder used in Indian culture to hold a kalash on the head. This year, several Durga Puja organizers have adopted contemporary issues related to environmental pollution as themes. At Chetla Agrani in Kolkata, the theme on display is river pollution. Theme artist Subrata Banerjee has recreated the effect of the polluted Hooghly to raise awareness among visitors about the perils of river pollution and how polluting the Ganga could end up polluting the faith. Ahead of Kumbh to be held in January next year, the UP government is organizing Kumbh Summit across all 18 divisions of the state, starting on Wednesday in Lucknow and culminating in Prayagraj on December 24th. Local artists and school children from across the state will put up performances in the events. The glamorous night of the LA Beauty Awards was celebrated in India, Mumbai, highlighting groundbreaking innovations and honoring pioneers in the industry. With glamorous outfits, dazzling smiles and an air of anticipation, the night truly showcased the best of beauty. Bollywood actress Kajol Devgan, Anjali Dhawan, Sunny Leone, Kriti Sanon and many celebs attended the award show. And still to come on India News Hour. The Reserve Bank of India's Monetary Policy Committee set to announce its bi-monthly interest rate decision today. And in Women's T20 World Cup, defending champions Australia beat New Zealand by 60 runs, top in Group A. And items worn or used by some of Hollywood's biggest names are up for grabs. We tell you when and where. Welcome back. You're watching India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and on to some business news now. The Reserve Bank of India will announce the decisions taken during its monetary policy meeting. The meeting concludes today, as it is to be seen whether the central bank keeps the repo rate unchanged as it has for the last 9 consecutive meetings. The repo rate is currently at 6.50% and has remained steady since the RBI adopted a conscious stance to balance inflation control and growth. The meeting also comes at a time when the U.S. Federal Reserve announced a steep 50 basis point interest cut in its review meeting after holding interest rates steady for 8 straight meetings. External factors like the rise in global crude oil prices and tensions in West Asia may compel the RBI to reconsider its current stance. Well, Shyama Mishra joins us with more from Mumbai on this. Well, Shyama, can the current geopolitical situations compel the RBI to reconsider its current stance of keeping its repo rate unchanged?
Well, Lipakshi, it was understood that during September or December, the Reserve Bank of India is likely to cut the rates, which has been steady now since 9 consecutive times. But this time around, now the geopolitical tensions that is happening, also the effect on the crude oil prices is now, it will be playing an important factor and might be pushing Reserve Bank of India to still hold the position. So it is expected that the Reserve Bank of India will be maintaining status quo, and some sections of the expert or the industrialists, they are also expecting that there will be a change in the stance of Reserve Bank of India, which is currently at withdrawal of accommodation. So it is expected that it might be changed or tweaked to neutral. So neutral means Reserve Bank of India would be open to either increase or cut the rate policy rates. Now we are seeing that inflation was coming in the comfortable range of Reserve Bank of India, but the recent prices of vegetables like the onion, potato, and other vegetables, they are increasing, they are skyrocketing, and once the data of this particular month or the last month comes in this particular month, we will have to see what the headline inflation, the consumer price index stands at, and then only Reserve Bank of India would be in a more comfortable position. It will be more in a position where it has more information, more knowledge about the situation, what is going on, because Reserve Bank of India has to maintain a balance between the inflation and also it has to accelerate or support growth. So we are understanding that every time in each policy announcement, Governor Shaktikant Das has laid emphasis on how this inflation is an elephant which is going into the woods, but it is still outside and it has to be seen, it has to be monitored. So Reserve Bank of India is definitely monitoring the situation, and it is likely to wait for more data that might come later in this month about how the inflation is panning out. And even though you also mentioned in your list that the US Fed has cut the rate cuts, but Reserve Bank of India or India is likely to wait and watch for the situation, because our story is different.
Right, Meghna, as you said, the elephant has to be monitored. Thank you so much for those details from there. And Wall Street's benchmarks ended higher on Tuesday, recouping some of the previous session's losses as investors brought back into technology stocks and shifted their focus to upcoming inflation data. All three of the main indexes suffered a sell-off on Monday, falling roughly 1% each. The S&P 500 gained 0.97% to end at 5,751.13 points, while the Nasdaq Composite gained 1.45% to 18,182.92. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 0.3% to 42,080.37. Also, European shares closed lower on Monday. MSCI's gorge of stocks across the globe advanced 0.15% to 844.96 points. The Stoxx 600 ended 0.55% lower. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index plunged 9.4%, its biggest drop since 2008. The Shanghai Composite and Blue Chip ended 4.6% and 5.9% higher, respectively, pairing earlier gains of more than 10%. U.S. crude is settled down 4.63% to $73.57 a barrel, and Brent tumbled to settle at $77.18 per barrel. The dollar index was unchanged at 102.48, with the euro up 0.04% at $1.0978. Dollar strengthened 0.07% to 148.29 against the Japanese yen. And TikTok faces new lawsuits filed by 13 U.S. states and the District of Columbia on Tuesday, accusing the popular social media platform of harming and failing to protect young people. The lawsuits, filed separately in New York, California, the District of Columbia, and 11 other states, expand TikTok's legal fight with the U.S. regulators and seek new financial penalties against the company. The states accuse TikTok of using intentionally addictive software designed to keep children watching as long as often as possible. The state said the TikTok seeks to maximize the amount of time users spend on the app in order to target them with ads. Meanwhile, the company said TikTok provides safety features, including default screen time limits and privacy defaults for minors under 16. TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, is battling a U.S. law that could ban the app in the United States as well. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for some sports news. Well, Australia defeated New Zealand on Tuesday evening with a dominant bowling display to move top of Group A at the Women's T20 World Cup. Both sides had won their opening match, and the Kiwis had a glimmer of hope on a slow pitch in Sharjah after they restricted Australia to 148 for 8. Beth Mooney's 40 provided the backbone of Australia's total, while Elise Perry chipped in with 30 as New Zealand leg spinner Emilia Kerr took an impressive 4 for 26. However, during batting, Susie Bates was bowled by Sophie Molyneux that started the rot for the White Ferns, who lost 9 wickets for 34 runs. Australia now at the top of Group A with 4 points, while New Zealand 2 points behind in third. Australia will next face Pakistan in Dubai on Friday, with New Zealand playing Sri Lanka in Sharjah on Saturday. And confident Team India is all set to take on Bangladesh in second T20 International in New Delhi this time. Having already won the first T20 by 7 wickets, the all-round performance by Team India is sending shockwaves to Bangladesh. Here's more.
Men in blue are all set to face Bangladesh in second T20 International, scheduled to take place on the 9th of October in New Delhi. Having comfortably defeated Bangladesh in the first T20I of their 3-match series by 7 wickets, Bangladesh seems helpless in front of Team India's all-rounder performance. If we talk about Team India's performance in first T20I, Hardik Pandya put on a show to blast India to victory in the 12th over of their innings after Bangladesh were blown away for 127 runs. Hardik Pandya hit back-to-back fours and a six to hit the winning runs. Arshdeep Singh and Varun Chakravarti took 3 wickets each, while debutant Mayank Yadav returned figures of 1 for 21. In the head-to-head, India has an upper hand, having won all 5 matches out of 5 encounters that took place between India and Bangladesh from the year 2019 to 2014. The second match is on the 9th of October in New Delhi, with the final game scheduled to take place on the 12th of October in Hyderabad. Sports Desk, DD India.
Well, from Yoda's cane to Clint Eastwood's duster coat, in the good, the bad and the ugly, hundreds of items will go under the hammer next month in a sale of movie and television memorabilia. Entertainment memorabilia auctioneer Prop Store is selling more than 1,800 items at its annual live auction, which this year runs from November 14th to the 17th. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lepakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.